I already put one on the table for you.
Except I forgot to give me one.
Very good. Good. Stand on site for a while. Fine for now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have full tender and then also the phone number that could be
Oh. I'm sorry, it's canceled in. Go on.
Then you'll be official.
Easy enough.
All right.
No, she,
I'm John, by the way. Chris Sutter. Welcome aboard.
They're on. Oh. The only thing I was talking about, I think you and I talked about a little bit, if it's going to be that big, have it. No kids will go
Yeah.
jump on it, play on it. Next thing you know,
Well, my worst case scenario, we're gonna be,
it's not gonna take away from what it looks like.
I agree. And the way I felt was, I said, hey, this is Dale, and she's not gonna, she took two of both. I don't think there's.
You don't want to control it there, froze, if like controller, to help sometimes, or her sister. She said, she's doing better. She'll do much better.
I could, but I think from picture to picture.
Maybe do one year, one next Friday. I am here for that. And maybe do this sculpture, because we don't have, we don't have. They might have to find a spot for it, because they will not want me. Oh, yeah. But if like.
That's it. There's also a sideline in here. Yep. And the package. Then there's a sidewalk back here. I think they, but then there's one that comes across. But, you know,
In the middle of this,
yeah.
I think that's a bad spot, just because,
Well,
you know, all the teams come in there, that's, you know, they're waiting, that's where they pile up.
Yeah.
But it would be a place to sit there and, if you, yeah, you know, I'll take that back. Yeah, it might be. Put the headrest here and put it open, have it concrete, you know, put it kind of behind. Somebody, you know, just right where the players land.
We're not taking off the air. I mean,
Why does this?
Tire, maybe.
but that being said, I mean, there's nothing that says you can't.
Yeah, last year the record. Why does it start at?
I mean, really, I don't know.
got to tear down, so they just, black out parking lot of concrete.
Yeah, but we gotta get the council to do it. Well, and then that.
Yeah.
There's actually, there's two classes.
Okay, yeah.
They moved one, and I think it was on. They moved one on new state. There's also another one. That I was
I know there's one, but I
that is in the and that came out. But they like everything. And on the pedestal, they want to put it out there.
Usually it just seems like one of the last things you start
There's been a lot of people here. He traveled all over the state.
And I think the old beaches, I think they have some, people come to the region, probably go through, making phone calls. Either that or they were able to get some money that they just working with.
But there's a story. And I'm not gonna tell the board about it. I don't think it's gonna be. But I think that whole area, we can put reduce.
They gave the money, they gave the bill. Where's the, we know where the money was coming
It's 6 o'clock. I'll call this meeting to order. First of all, on the agenda, we have a oath of office. We have a new park board member, Sean Erickson. Angel, would you like to swear him in?
I, having been appointed to the office of Parks and Recreation Board
I, Sean Erickson, having been appointed to the office of Parks and Recreation Board
within and for the city of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota, do
With-
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
Yeah.
within and for the city of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and the ordinance of said city of Mitchell,
the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and the ordinances of said city of Mitchell,
and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of the office of Parks and Recreation Board,
and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of the office of Parks and Recreation Board.
Welcome aboard, Sean. Any public input? Not. Any delegations? Do you have any additions or deletions to the agenda? This is really going to go. Approval of minutes, past board meeting. Is there any questions? Anybody have any comments? If,
Dan isn't here, but I'm just going back as far as, last bidding on the capital improvement fee. It was brought to my attention again by the Kiwanis Club that a pergola or something at the softball field that hadn't gotten made in the last couple of years, but the money was there. Just wondering to know if that will be able to be done this year. And,
What was that specifically? I didn't understand.
well, I talked to you about it before.
Okay.
It was the Kiwanis Club gave about $1,800 here about 3-4 years ago to build some kind of a pergola or something
Yep.
for Kiwanis for kids at the entrance of one of the softball fields.
Yep, Dan said they had the supplies there that they had already purchased, they just need to put it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, but as far as that, just going back to the capital improvement fees, any progress on getting some kind of a park and rec capital fund account started at a bank somewhere, or where that money goes? Did we get that going yet?
Yeah, we'll have a report once we start. We won't have any funds coming into it until the end of summer. That's when Dan usually charges, sends out the invoices for field usage. So sometime this summer, I'll let you know when it's up and running, and we can have that account number actually in the report. So any money that comes in between now and then, I'll make sure it gets started and it's on here. But I think we're still a ways out. It depends on when things start up.
Have the associations been informed of this? You know?
Yeah, they were all informed prior to even to that meeting, so they're all aware of it. Yeah. Yep. We'll be actually doing putting together our baseball agreements next month. Yep.
Any other questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Right?
Opposed, same sign. So moved. Approval of bills.
Okay, I'll just start with the page 1 of the 2009. I can just highlight there's not much changes. Again, it doesn't get closed out until March or April time frame. And if you look under our expenses, the total expenditures for the year, there still was $208,000 unspent funds there. And then if you look at total revenues, we were short $96,000 on revenues, and that was mainly the rec center projections, and we anticipated that and held back the funds in the rec center. That left us with $112,000 of unspent funds in our budget that you see before you. Nothing else to point out in the 2019 budget except for the transfers that we need to make, which is on the orange piece of paper that I provided you. I'll just go through those real quick. I submitted these. I do need more time to determine, what the status of these requests will be. But for now, the Pepsi sign, they donated $20,000 to the Parks and Rec Department when they put in the pool. That was with their contract, and that was to replace old Coke signs or whatever it is that we needed to do. They didn't have any stipulations on those funds. But we've only spent 2,000 of those at this point, but we want to make sure we continue that, particularly out at the Pepsi Soccer Complex. There's a lot of signs out there that are faded pretty bad, and we need to get those replaced, and a few other signs throughout town. The boat docks, again, that was from council, $50,000. We spent 50 of that on the NDSU master plan, 15 on the NDSU master plan, so we have $35,000 that needs to be transferred. The day camp playground, we still have about just over $6,000 of work to finish there. The aquatic center needed some deck chairs. There was some money in their supplies and maintenance supplies budget. We had some allocated towards deck chairs, but it was at the end of the season when we determined, and we were holding back for that, so we'll get that on that request. And then the Sandy Beach restroom, some sidewalk. We need to install some more sidewalk, I think, there, and that one will be complete. A total of $66,000, and I apologize if I left this off. If we take over Cadwell Concessions next year at the softball complex, that would be an additional $54,000.
And that number came from where, 54,000?
Last year, the Corn Palace managed it, and so we have their records, and this is what it would cost to run it, but we should also make that much in revenue.
That's what they made?
That's what they made in revenue, and I think it was right around 51,000, but they did not do the burgers, and we're planning on doing the burgers this year, so we should make a little bit more. And they spent about 10,000 less than that, but we need that 10,000 to put into capital improvements to get those ready for food service.
Now, you're showing these as supplemental appropriations?
Yep. So
They
when
weren't on the budget?
no, they were on the budget in 2019. We didn't complete the project.
We didn't complete it.
No.
Okay, so that
And-
makes it supplemental now?
You have to transfer it into 2020. So that's why they call it. It's more of an automatic supplement, I think, than anything, but they do have to transfer it from.
I always thought a supplemental was like if we had our main tractor that was doing all the ditch mowings tipped over and we had to shell it out, we had to come into the city because we had no money to budget. That was supplemental.
They call that contingency.
So they call it, okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yep, so I put in those requests just yesterday, and again, we'll report back to you next month to look at the status of where we're at with these.
So all of these were budgeted for 2019.
That's correct.
And
Most of them we
whatever
didn't.
reasons, we never got
Yep,
completed.
that's correct. Mainly weather for when you're looking at the playground or the Sandy Beach restroom. It was just weather related and just, our guys were overworked last summer and didn't complete them, but we came close.
So my question then, Nate, is, what if we, as the board, decide, well, first of all, let's just say, we don't want to put in boat docks. We take that completely off, but if we want to add something else, can we do that?
You'd have to ask council that question. Since council put that in last year, it wasn't the board that put it in. Marty's not here. I don't,
Well, I remember.
You can vote
Marty-
to do-
I
you
remember
can-
Marty
yeah.
making the statement
yeah,
that we had to go to the council and request that,
that's correct.
but that is an option. I mean, according to what Marty said.
Yep, it'll be,
Am I understanding that correctly?
I don't really have a comment on that either way. It would be up to the board.
Well, I mean,
The city council or the board? I mean, if it was
The board
up
can
to the
ask
board,
anything from the city council. So if you did that, I would take that information to council and let them make the final decision, yes.
I mean, I guess what I'm getting at here is, we have a pool that we have to get filled in, and it doesn't seem like anything that is happening with regard to 2019 or 2020. I mean, we're looking at 2021 before we can possibly even do that. And my thought being is that'd put a big dent into that. The only thing is, the Pepsi sign donation, we would have to stand by that simply because that was the donation made by Pepsi. And I don't think we can take that out, but, every one of these items are important to the department. But ultimately, in order for the department to increase our revenues that we've basically projected we are going to do, we got to start with that pool. Because once we get that filled in, we can expand on that and produce additional revenue. But at this juncture, I don't see that happen. So,
I'm totally against the boat docks, just because what revenue is going to be brought into the boat docks when there's no boats on the lake? And there's no revenue anyway. To me, it's a waste of money.
Can you turn on?
It's on.
Oh, okay, good, just making sure.
It's on.
Yeah,
And I think the mayor knows my outlook on that.
yeah.
when you go out, like I explained it to Stephanie, I made it a point to go out to the lake at least 2 to 3 times a day for the whole summer last year. There's no boats on the lake, except an old fishing boat that a older gentleman's there could care less about what his boat looks like and just there to kill time and fish. And I just think we could spend our money wiser to make revenue for the rec center.
It would be up to the board, the whole board to let me know if they want me to change that, I guess. So, I mean, if you're wanting to vote on that or,
Well, to move this thing along a little bit, I would recommend that each board member review these, and, you know, if there's some other things that you think are more important or that we need to consider or address, we need to sit down and make up a list before we commit to one or any of these. So, but moving along, then, any other questions regarding?
For us, like, I know nothing about it for the most part.
yeah, most of them are like 2 years old
Yeah,
and we've
right.
been working on them for a while.
I mean, if we're gonna start reviewing everything, then, like, I need information.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything. I don't know, the boat docks, I know about, you know, what came in Mitchell Daily Republic is what I know.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sure there were valid reasons at the time for requesting those and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, so.
Well, I can just specifically talk on a few of these, like the Sandy Beach restroom. That's almost complete. We're just about $3,000 short. We don't want to not have a sidewalk going to it. The deck chairs, Kevin can comment on those, but those are pretty worn out, and we're throwing them away at this point.
Yeah, the deck chairs that we have out there at the Outdoor Aquatic Center are original when we started. And we, you know, with the pool aging, we didn't want to buy them right away at the beginning of the year, just in case we needed repair and maintenance for other things. And so we waited, and then we decided to see where we're at for the rest of the year with our budget. And when I talked to Nate about it, he's like, well, we can just transfer those into 2020. And it would probably get us about 10 or 15 new deck chairs out of the 50 or 60 we have, so.
And then the playground, again, we're just about done with that project. It was, total was 45, I want to say. Is that right, Steve? And we're about $6,000 left to finish up the day camp. We were doing the playground and the volleyball courts there and some lighting. We were thinking about getting those lights updated that are there. This should cover all of that. So we want to be able to finish at least the restroom and the playground. The Pepsi sign donation, again, that's just money we don't want to lose because we've got signs that, particularly Pepsi signs, that we need to replace. And I mentioned the ones over at the Pepsi complex are pretty well faded. If you go out there and you look at them, you can't read some of them. And so that leaves the boat docks, which again was allocated. $50,000 was allocated by council. We used 15 of that for the NDSU master plan, and that leaves us with 35 in the account. So I'm just transferring it until I'm told otherwise.
So the boat docks didn't come through here, they came straight out of council?
That's correct. Yeah. So we can't override council in terms of what they, but the board can ask council. I mean, and I would take what you asked to council if there's something different that you want to do there. And then, again, I think that pretty much covers each of those.
Just real quick, going back real quick, Nathan, on
Yep.
the concession stands at the ballpark.
Yep. I guess I should.
I think we talked a couple board meetings ago, a couple months ago, about having to redo those, make them bigger.
Yep.
And the money, we're doing that to make them so we can cook hamburgers and make it more convenient for the people out there along with concession people.
Yep.
Where is that money coming from to do that?
Yep. So the concessions, that's not on there, the 54,000, that's a little bit different because we are taking over concessions. It's a new, I want to say, almost like an enterprise fund where it's going to have revenue attached to it. So I can only put in the amount I think we can make. So if we have 54,000, we have to do everything that you talked about, including purchasing our food, and I can actually break that down for you in an email. But I only had about 10,000 in there for upgrades to the facility. If we want more money, we would have to ask for more money, because it'd be above what I think we can make next year. Yep. There was also some more in there for equipment and stuff like that, but, so it's a little more than 10, but, we're going to do the work ourselves, so it's really just materials for the building, that I can come up with, and I think we can be resourceful and get something done.
Was there anything else on the bills you wanted to?
I needed to go over 2020 real quick.
We're not,
I'm sorry, 2019 bills are attached to that 2019, at the back of that 2019. So those are the remainder of the bills that you're approving. There wasn't anything that I highlighted. Most of it is self-explanatory. And then the 2020, is, you can see our budget, and nothing to really point out. On the last page, though, last pages, there will be the bills, and there are some items I wanted to point out. On page 22 of the 2020 budget, the software fee for Civic Rec, that's our registration software, for our programming and rec center, that's 3,000. Total is 9, is that correct? 9,500, yeah. So there's three $3,000 plus charges to that. There's 2 there, and I'll show you where the other one is. Page 24, there's 63,300 was the ice pumper cars. Page 20, the second page, 24B, is the third Civic Rec fee for 3,000. Page 2060, the shipping for the ice pumper cars for 1187. And there was nothing else that I had highlighted. Unless you have any questions, I can answer.
I had some questions on the bills. Do we pay tax, like, say, like an expense, somebody buys something with the credit card or whatever, do they pay tax on that? Like, say you buy something in Sioux Falls, is that, you pay the tax on it, correct?
Do we pay the tax?
Correct. Like, so there's like some in here that's even from last year, but runnings, and it's not a substantial amount, but runnings, $79 for supplies and shovels. If we're paying, the closest running would be Parkston. If we're paying tax on that, that's going to Parkston. Not
Yeah, no, we're not paying any taxes, and, for anything we purchase. Yep. And just to be clear, did you guys want me to pull the boat docks off and we just go back to council with another request? Or just to have that conversation about the boat docks, or have that
Well,
separate conversation, or?
I think my
don't know.
personal opinion with that is, why would we be building new boat docks before they determine what they're going to end up having to do with the lake?
Yeah, we won't know probably till May on a plan on where those would go, but, and 35,000 isn't going to complete it, but.
In addition to that, that all came from the council, which is fine.
Yeah.
But did they address any hidden fees or costs that we're going to have to maintain because of this?
No matter what, when we have a project, we'll have to have that conversation here and also with the board, because you would need to approve the project, and then or
But-
council, I mean, yeah.
Do you understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Because the council
Yeah.
came, basically, they made this on their own. I don't believe they ever came to the board and asked our opinion on it. They just said, you're gonna do this, correct?
That, they put the money in there for it, that's
But,
correct.
I mean, ultimately, what does that money cover?
I don't have a
Just building
project,
the docks?
I don't have a project yet, I couldn't tell you.
Who's gonna maintain it? Who's gonna lease it out or sell, rent them to whoever?
Can't answer that yet.
Well, I mean, you understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
is, we got given $50,000 and we had no input into it, and we have all these questions and we have no way to get an answer to it.
Yep. That's what kind of got the master plan going, so we could determine where we would put them, and then we would look at what it would cost to put some in, and what it would cost to maintain at that point.
So is the idea that this money was just supposed to sit there until that time? I mean, was that the idea that this was the start of a fund that will grow and it's just waiting? Is that the idea?
No, it was just budgeted for 2019, but because we decided to go into a master plan phase for the lake, that put it on hold. It's all it is, it's just sitting on hold. Once we're done with the master plan, this board could say, yes, because you guys would be approving the master plan. So you would be approving where boat docks would go, regardless if you're going to put them in or not. The master plan is just a plan. And so you may want to say, let's use those funds for the parking lot, knowing that someday there might be a boat dock there, or we want to put in the jetty for, to keep the wind and waves from breaking up those boats in that area, So we'd have to do some infrastructure at the site regardless. And that's where you could use that money for. We haven't allocated that yet.
I would make a motion that we table this until we get some more clarification on the information.
I have to submit them because of a timeline.
What's the timeline on when the lake is gonna be fixed? 10
No,
years, what I'm saying is table this, there's a timeline. You're gonna put in a $60,000 boat dock when there's nobody using the lake, because the lake is not usable. And I totally agree with Brian, table it until we find out
are you,
where this money is worth spending on a
Or
boat
can
dock.
we just,
that would be, if you wanted us to have a different conversation, so not transfer money for the boat docks, I have to do the transfers, get those in now. In fact, in order to be on the, in order to get the transfers through. But if you're wanting to hold off on the boat docks, we could do that one and go back and have another conversation with council.
so just for clarification to the board, these are items that were in our budget,
That's correct.
that there was money available to do,
That's correct.
and they never got done.
Or,
And we want to roll that money that was left over back into either this and/or something else, or not.
the boat docks or
Well,
all of them, yes.
I mean, I just have a real problem with that boat docks thing,
Yeah.
because that was done in 2019, and, the council basically put the 50,000 out there, but we don't even know if 50,000 will touch that project.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to roll that money over. We can just go re-ask for it at a later time if we have a project that we
Can we, well, what do you got, 35,000 there? Of course,
But we can also transfer the funds and then still have that conversation either way.
After the fact? We can.
Well, it's kind of, it'll say boat docks on there. It'll say boat docks on there, so.
Yeah, I mean, if we decide at that point.
If you're wanting to hold off on that transfer, I can do that. Or change the name to something else.
If we don't transfer it, we lose it, right?
That's
It
correct.
goes back. So if we transfer, we have to say,
Something else. I mean, I'm, you know, here's my take on it, guys, and it's my opinion. And you guys can all determine it. On those boat docks, first of all, why would you want to construct something, and we don't even know that the city isn't going to have to basically dredge the entire lake? I mean, and then we have to move them again? I mean, why would we want to do work on the lake until we know what the lake is going to be required to do? I mean, I would feel more, and 35,000 will not do it. But I mean, I'd rather move 35,000 down and make concession remodeling additions if need be.
I could call it, you know, lake improvements.
That's what I was just gonna
You
ask,
know,
so because you're saying, as long as it would have something to do with, that would benefit the boat dock in some sort of way, that money could be used, correct? Like you were saying, parking lots, or, you know, there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you would have it, if we have a design done, there would be a certain process where you would do the parking lot first, or, you know, we would do certain projects first before we actually we couldn't just go out there and put in docks and not have a place for people to park. Or we couldn't have, or if there needs to be a jetty out there to keep the wind down and keep, you know, because most of those areas get pretty windy, and you just don't want boats floating, falling all over the place, flying everywhere. So we would have to do a break there as well. I mean, I haven't, you know, this board will determine the master plan, but that's coming in probably May, June. And then we would discuss what we would do with those funds at that point.
I hate to lose the money.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
I mean, I do use the lake. I've seen other people using it. It's not like it's not used by anybody.
Well, right, it's being used. But how many people are gonna dock their boat there for 2 or 3 or 4 days? Now who's responsible if somebody rips up the boat?
And those answers will be answered in the master plan, so we'll be able to have that
Who's
conversation.
master plan?
The NDSU master plan for Lake Mitchell. It's called the public use plan.
And that has nothing to do with the cleanup, right? That's
No, this is just strictly recreation. I mean, we're looking for ways to clean up the lake, but, and we'll put whatever we can in there, but we pretty much have that report, and we know it needs to be done.
If we move it, we don't have to spend it until we have a project, so it can sit there till,
That's correct.
I don't see what we have to lose by keeping it.
Well, I'm just looking at from the standpoint of the council's going to come back and say, well, when you came in for the supplemental, you were all in favor of it. And,
Okay.
and it's almost like it's committing us to it before we can actually make an intelligent.
No, because when we have the plan, we can say the board wants to work on this project, and we would like to use the boat dock funds to fund it. So that you can do. So, I mean, we'll go do that. I mean, we'll go back to council and make that request.
Angel, you note that comment for me, please? If that's the case, I have no problem.
I wouldn't move on doing anything. I mean, we can keep it in here. And again, I'll determine by next month, you know, what the status is here. But I wouldn't do anything until we have a plan and we know what direction that you guys want to go. So, kind of too early to change at this point. We don't want to say we don't want the boat dock money and then come back and say, we would like it. Yeah.
We want the money.
Yeah.
We just don't want to call it boat dock money. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Now, question to you, Nate. On these bills, are we approving both the 2019 and the 2020?
That's correct.
And this, or do we treat this separate?
Because these are funds that are already allocated, we don't need to vote on this at all.
Okay.
I just wanted you to be aware of what we're transferring for next year, and also update you on these projects.
Okay.
I have a question yet. So for
Okay.
the ice bumpers, I saw the 63,000 for the ice bumper cars, for the cars, and 1,187 for shipping, but I didn't we put in like some pallet racks and some,
That's correct. I haven't seen those bills yet.
we just haven't got them,
Yeah.
okay. Just curious where we ended up.
And you commented regarding, there was what, $7,000 for electrical for those? Did I miss?
What was it, a forklift and pallet rack and
Yeah,
two circuits?
I haven't seen any
What was
bills,
it on,
so
24B or something?
I hope not. I haven't seen any bills. I hope not.
Okay.
Yeah, there should be about, the remainder should be the pallet lift and the pallet racks. So,
Unless there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion, we approve the bills as submitted.
I'll move to approve the bills.
Have a second? We have a motion and a second. So, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved. Okay. Any old business?
Oh, I don't have any old business.
Oh, I thought you were-
Yeah, I was looking for my mouse over here to scroll down.
Okay.
Yep.
New business, recreation report. Kevin.
Right now, we're maintaining our programs, our winter programs right now, that are going on, our volleyball, wrestling, swimming lessons, and then our 2 basketball leagues, and those will be, some of them will be wrapping up here in the next week, the others, later on in March and April. So we're maintaining those right now. We are planning our summer, so we're working on our summer brochure, and, that final deadline is like the first week of March. So, we've got that pretty much ready to go, but we're just waiting for a few other dates and things to come in from some other entities that want to put some stuff in our brochure. So brochure's kind of staying the same as it has been the last couple of years. They make some different changes, and it's looking pretty good. They got a really good designer that we've worked with for the last 3 years, which is nice. A few years there, we were working with somebody different every year, and it made it kind of tough, but it's looking pretty good so far. So the rec center in January was super busy. First time we hit over 10,000 check-ins in a month. So and we're up over 3,500 members. So it's been really good. And our member numbers fluctuate from month to month because we have a lot of people that do the auto check-in in the 1 month, things like that. So they'll cancel, come back on, cancel, come back on. So those numbers fluctuate. But, we're at 3,300 members back in November, I think, and we're up to 3,500 in a couple months. And said the check-ins are, I think for the year, I just did it in the annual report, was like 76,000 check-ins for the year. So we're busy. The mechanical issues with the indoor aquatic center that we were having here December and January, I think are pretty much good. We did have a little bit of a pressure issue today, so we're looking into that, but the pool heater got fixed and the air unit itself is working. And I hope it all works for next weekend because we're hosting the state swim meet with probably 325 swimmers here, so for a 3-day meet, which will be about the same size as they had here back in November. So hopefully everything is going to be up and going for that. I sent an email out today to all of our members to kind of remind them that we have that meet going on next weekend, and that will be the pool itself will be shut down for the weekend, but the rec center itself will be open. And that worked out pretty good in November. I don't know if any of you guys went to work out during that meeting.
I was a little frustrated on Saturday with parking.
Parking, yeah, parking's always gonna be the issue. You know, there's just not enough parking.
Well, would we be able to do some, I don't know, maybe we don't have enough people, but do like a shuttle thing or something for, I don't know. use
For the
like
meet?
shop go, yeah.
For the meet.
I don't know if people would
You know,
utilize it.
it's the swim club's meet, so they'd have to kind of set that up, but I don't know. I think you have to deal with that. I mean, you have to deal with it at the Corn Palace, and there's just kind of a tough situation with
Or
parking.
there's more
so,
parking than walking range down here, but.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea that if you can, bring it up to the aquatic center that
But if
rent
people
or-
don't utilize it, it's tough
Yeah.
too.
It might, you know, that's something to think about for like next year when they have their big one. You know, it's a week away now, so I don't know if they'd have time to line
Yeah,
that
not
up,
this
but
time.
it's something to talk. We always have a wrap-up meeting, the following week about the meet to see how things went and, you know, any changes we need to make. So I can bring that up, you know, in 2 weeks with them, see what they say about that. Because, I mean, it's not just for our members too that have the struggle, it's the people swimming too, so.
Well, yeah, I know like when I do like a race, running, it-
Mhm.
you know, they usually have a shuttle to the start from a couple hotels or something,
Yep.
so you don't have to. I mean, even if we just ran from like the conference center or something.
Yeah, I can talk to them about that and see, because that could be an expense that gets covered through their sports authority bid, you know, too, potentially. So we can bring that up to them.
Would that be something you could possibly utilize the RTD?
That's what we'd probably use, I would assume, because they'd have bigger, you know, medium-sized buses like that. So, yeah, I can bring that up to them though.
Or even school bus?
Yeah.
How are you going to operate that weekend? Obviously, it'll be closed, the pool will be closed. Are all the
So what we're gonna do, and then,
competitors going to be able to use,
The what?
all the competitors going to be able to use the whole facility?
nope, how we did it for their meet in, November is basically how we're gonna run it for this one. So they're gonna use our front gym and the they're renting the GB Commons area for their, campsites. And so originally they were gonna use both of our gyms. Then we almost needed to shut our facility down because we don't want them getting into our weight room and all that stuff. By having them go up into the commons area, it worked out well for both sides, for them because everybody's still kind of close to where the pool is and their concession area, and we could keep our back gym open and all the other facilities open for our members to use, which worked out well. So Friday, our rec pool will be open until noon, but the competition pool will be closed for the whole weekend, and then from Friday noon on, the rec pool will be closed too, so. But anybody can still come in and use it during our regular hours, and then the 24/7 people can still use it if they can find a parking spot.
And you have plenty of staff.
Yep.
scheduled.
Yeah, you know, the first meet they had, we scheduled about 3 staff extra, didn't need them. But the swim club, go to Riptide, I think is what they're called now, they do a really, really good job of running their meets. They have parents designated as, I don't know, chaperones or whatever for the facility. So when they come in the facility, they tell them, campsites are over here, pool's this way, you cannot go that way, or they kind of direct them traffic-wise too, and they clean up. We were overstaffed, so we go back to normal staff for those days just because they don't need our staff. Our staff does whatever they need to do for their normal jobs, and they run a clean meet. I'll give them
They
that.
run their own concessions. then.
Yep, they do. Yep.
But we're glad to help them selling our products too.
We still sell some ice cream. We have ice cream there that they can buy, so.
Popcorn?
We try not to do the popcorn because we don't want them taking that into they're not supposed to bring food into the pool area, but, you know, sometimes food is in there. We did actually just today start, we're gonna try selling, we've got one, a chicken Caesar wrap, we've got a couple of like a roast beef or a turkey and a ham sandwich, some of these pickled things, some cheese. We've got some other things that we're going to sell to kind of like our noon crowd and our 5:30 crowd that got just some supper or a lunch item kind of. We bought some limited items right now to see how it'll go, and so we're kind of excited about that. So they might buy some of that stuff potentially. that. But we also have our basketball tournament, the Rob Marchand Memorial Tournament that we work with DW and Harv's Sport Shop coming up March 7th. And so normally we get about 60 to 65 teams for that. We did drop about 20 teams last year when the high school went to the Sweet 16 format. We kind of lost our AA teams because that day is when they play all of their AA first round, opening round, and nobody knows where and when they're going to be playing. And so if they got a brother playing varsity and a little sister playing in our tournament or potentially playing out, they don't know if they can make their varsity day, so they can't get in. And so so we did drop probably 20 teams last year, hoping to pick back up I'd like to get back up to at least 50 for this year, but we'll see how it goes. Deadline's the 27th of February. So any questions?
Thanks, Bill. Park Sports report.
Well, we've been doing maintenance repairs on equipment that's never ending. Tree removal, snow removal, cutting, splitting some firewood that we sell at the campground in the summertime. Took down Christmas tree and decorations after the first of the year. Staff and myself attended commercial applicator's license, that's our spraying license. So we can spray. Just been doing a little bit of work at the outdoor pool, on our pool pump stuff, trying to clean up some of the runs, repaint them, trying to keep them up and going. And then I've been searching for a replacement lamp post for the outdoor pool that got damaged from when that tree came down over by the concession stands. So I've been trying to find something to replace that. Any questions?
Okay, what categories do we have, or do you guys have for your spraying?
We got our general, turf and ornamental, and public health for mosquitoes.
Is ornamental, is that number 3 or 4?
3 and 4, yep.
That's just kind of relevant to the, what's going to happen with the next week and stuff.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Sports complex.
Oh. Do you have any questions on Dan's report at all here?
What are we looking at, I read more leaks again at the ice arena. Once again, are we putting together a budget to replace, or a plan to replace?
Will be,
compressors?
budget process will start again up here, and I will tell you that we've spent $30,000 on that north rink since September. So, yeah.
Do you have an idea of what it costs to replace them? Any plans, or?
We've seen anywhere from, it depends on what system we put in, but anywhere from $500,000 to over $1 million, yeah.
Is it the same area?
It's kind of not a budget process item, it's something that we need to just, request. What was that again, Brian?
I say, is it the same area that's still causing the leak?
Yeah, we
When
replaced,
two buildings join, is that?
this one was outside, so this was in a different area. So we have different areas leaking, and the south rink actually leaked this last week too, and I don't know what that's going to cost. The north rink leak is going to be probably around $6,000. As the building's getting old, and I should also.
No. There's some buildings out at Hitchcock that are old. That's not that old. I mean, ultimately, what are we looking at? Are we looking at having to put a new roof on that?
So the roof issue that came up was there's an ice dam, so we have ice sliding off the upper roof coming on, and then once it dams up, then the ice on the snow on the upper roof still melts, gets up underneath the eaves and comes into the building. Just a poor design. So we're
Normal thing anyway, for homes or anything, yeah.
sure.
Poorly designed, but it's probably could be an easy fix.
Yeah, the mayor asked us to have an architect give us a design, and we're going to go from there. Yep, and I'll ask council for those funds. Yep.
So as far as like the compressors, we're just going to come up with a plan here and present it, or what?
I'm keeping the city officials, the council, through Stephanie, informed of that, and they know what, so I'm kind of waiting to see when they want to move on it. I don't know that we necessarily have to ask for it in the budget, but we can put it in there.
I just figured we'd have to have a plan.
Well, I did talk to, we did meet with a company that installs those. Their price was over $1 million, but they said we'd probably have 2 years with the work that we just did. So I think we can buy another year with the compressors that we have, but
So is the coolant still available then for, I mean?
it is,
Making it, what, last year?
it's not going to be available for long.
Well, I was wondering if the next leak, or, I mean, I feel like this is something we should fix before we need to, otherwise we're gonna have much hockey and figure skating.
We kind of need to figure out if we want to shoot for, probably 2021 summer project. Yeah.
So it's different, all of the bumper cars been busy?
This will be the first weekend. I went there on Monday, and our ice skaters are actually, we're actually getting a lot of ice skaters too. We had a full rink on Monday, and it was pretty crazy. So that the week before I went on that same day, and there was only one ice skater out there, and I went there the other day, and there was probably.
Would you want to get on the ice with those bumper cars going around?
Oh yeah.
Ice skates?
Oh yeah.
You're going to get on the ice on ice skates when the bumper car's on the same sheet of ice?
No, they're separated.
Okay,
Yep. Not together.
okay. That's one.
Yep.
Make
Yep.
sure. Keep it safe.
So they're using them, and the ice skating's also increased, which is what we expected.
No, my kids want to use them, but the problem is opening at the ice time.
Yeah. We are stuck with our schedules, and maybe that'll change a little bit in time, but weekends should be a little bit better, but we already have a tournament change, I think, on Sunday, so we're going to have a hard time with the times that we have already. So, but a really good time is in the fall, we're obviously at the end of the season, so the best time for this is going to be when we open up and when we're running through into Christmas.
One question, Nate, on those bumper boats, or whatever they're called. How did you determine the cost, the fee?
The fee? Well, their recommendation was $12, and we just thought that was too high, so what we brought to you was $6. We just asked around, what would you pay, and everyone thought $12 was too high, which I did too. That was the recommendation. That's what some of the other places are charging, but
What other places?
other city. I talked to several cities that have these city-run facilities, and this was probably the right rate. If we need to readjust or have some sort of special, but I would say we don't worry about it until fall when they open back up.
I mean, I looked at it, well, I found it on the internet, or on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
$6 for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
My thought process was, well, why 6? I mean, for example, if you made it $5, they could just hand you a 10 or a 20 or whatever, but now you're going to carry in a boatload of different currency to pay back for $6.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
And-
did bring that to the board. We did set the fee at the last fee discussion that we had here. You guys set it at 6.
We did?
Yes. I don't set fees. I just make recommendations.
I apologize.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
No problem.
To be honest, no.
I had a question on this fall, we let them put cameras in the ice arena. Now, as part of that, we're supposed to get a percent of the accounts they're selling you.
That's correct.
Have we reached the threshold where we're getting anything?
I will talk to Lana over there at the Hockey Association and see how things are going with that.
So they're collecting it for us?
Should be coming to us. but I want to make sure that,
Well, another, I had someone ask me about too, is I thought, when I looked at the contract, the way I read it is, how they track it is by a code, and if you sign up for that code, then they know that it's associated with Mitchell or whatever. Well, my question is, why don't we have that code listed on the website somewhere, or some kind of link that you can sign up for?
we are supposed to have it on our website, the link.
I didn't see it, which I certainly didn't.
Yeah, no, it would be, I'll talk to Dan, about that and see if he's got it on there. So, Dan would be the one who would put that on.
I don't know how many people sign up for Cal's anyway, but.
Yeah. What's that called again? What's that called? Yeah, Life Barn, that's right.
Just going back real quick to the fees, I think I talked to Kevin here a couple of days ago about it. Maybe get a punch card,
Yep.
make it a little bit easier. Somebody buys a $32 punch card to ride bumper boats, it's just go in there and you punch it.
Yep.
And you're not messing with the change and this and that, if that's a possibility.
Yep,
It'd be a lot cheaper to do.
that's what we were thinking about we were going to come to you guys with something for next fall, I think. Right now, it's so, it's the end of season. It's going to just be winding down as we go here, as we only have a couple months left. And we'll bring something for the fall.
Is the credit card machine working out there yet?
We had a meeting about a new POS system on Monday, so we're going to get a POS station for them because they're going to need one for concessions as well. And we looked at that. Kevin was actually at that meeting, and we should be getting that shortly.
Do you have any kind of like marketing strategy for these bumper boats? Because if I wasn't at that last meeting, I would have no clue about this period. And of course, it is a public, but how many people do it daily?
Yep.
And stuff? I mean, we have like a Facebook campaign, there's 1 million people on Facebook, and I haven't seen it come across once.
Yep.
As far as like boosting posts or something like that, just to get people in the door.
Yep, we do have, Dan has a $1,000 marketing budget for that, that he can use. I also have some funds, and I actually run some Facebook ads, and I'm doing that for the ice bumper cars, and also I just put a birthday party ad out for the rec center, and we'll run different ads throughout the year. And then Kevin's got a very large budget that he uses for the rec center and his programs, and that's a $50,000, isn't that what we're at? Marketing budget. Yep. So that's where yeah.
You can reach everybody with $50,000 in the United States if you want to.
We do, for that marketing budget, we use our 2 radio stations. We do TV commercials with Midco and ICANN. And then we do have a budget for Facebook as well. Because I know he's got it for the bumper cars anyway, it's on Facebook, because I see the notifications all the time, but I don't know if it's been boosted or not, but I know there's a Facebook ad on there. So.
We just boosted it. We didn't do our press release until you guys received it on Monday. Yep.
But for 2020, we get, every year for our Midco commercials, we get to make 3 new commercials, and we are going to add in just one separate commercial that won't be kind of specifically for the rec center. So the campground, we're going to put a little thing with those ice bumper cars in there, do like a 10-second spot for that, and kind of highlight some of our parks and the outdoor aquatic center, things like that too.
What about like certain events for the bumper boats? So not just go out there, the lights are bright, there's really, the only thing you hear is the bumper boats going. Some of the other towns that I've researched on the internet, they have like disco night, kind of events like that. Do you have something set up like that to keep it kind of interesting and keep it going?
Yep, Dan will be needing to work on programming for that. Another thing they do is they do races, which is kind of fun. You can do that. You can do it in the summertime, even on off the ice as well. So we can run them on the concrete as well. And then we've talked with other options that we might be able to do in the summertime to have some programs with those as well. And so it'll be up to Dan on that. Yep.
Okay. Department report, Nate.
All right. Okay, just want to update you on the DWU agreement. We're almost there. We will have to do a special meeting because we're getting too close to the season. We want to make sure we have that completed prior to the season. So in the next couple of weeks, you should get an invite here for maybe a lunch meeting where we can come in and approve that agreement. Go ahead.
I guess I'd like to have the details before the meeting, we don't just come in and vote and something.
No, it'll be just like we have to do a 24-hour notice, but I'll give it to you guys way before that. I'll probably have the agreement done tomorrow, and I'll probably email it out and maybe see what date works for everybody here.
Well, that's not exactly what he's asking.
Is it?
Well, I guess, I was wondering what the terms, I guess you don't have the terms done, but, what are you?
Yeah, I mean, what was the finalized agreement on? I mean.
Yep. We'll have to do an executive session before I can tell you that. I can't, sorry. Yeah, so we'll do an executive session before the meeting and have that private conversation about the contract, and then we'll go in and vote on it. So we'll probably just do it at the rec center on a lunch hour. Does that make sense, or?
No, I think I'm worried about if we don't approve, then there's no because we should meet before it.
Well, I mean, I agree. I mean, Chris is right. Ultimately, if we get there and it's already to be signed, how do we change it if we don't like something that's on it? You know what I mean?
That's the only time I can bring it to the group is in a meeting.
Well, we could have an executive session at any meeting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we don't have to be in here. We can meet at the rec center, and we could do it on 2 different days.
Except for we don't have a deal yet, Brian. There's
Well,
nothing to even present to you yet.
Well, I mean, I'm, you know, this is the way I am. I will not sign anything that
Yeah.
somebody comes up and says,
Yeah.
there, sign it.
Yeah.
I won't do that.
Yeah.
And I don't think.
And you
anybody else
can
will.
table it. You can table it till the next meeting, but we can have a meet, I would just put in a request to approve it. It's up to you guys to approve it. It's not, it won't be up to me. It's up to you. So you can always table it and come back even. So that's your prerogative as a board.
You guys,
I just don't have anything to present because we don't have anything finalized. We don't have anything that I can bring you yet.
With that,
Yeah.
Mitchell Baseball at all involved with, you're talking, going back, talking about Westland and the contract with the church or things like that, is Mitchell Baseball on board with this also? Or gonna be?
You'll have to wait till our executive session on that. Or I'd be happy to talk to you
Yeah.
privately. Yeah. And you can call me, email me anytime about these questions, especially when you get it. If you have something specific, I can fill you in ahead of time as well. Once it's out, I can have some dialogue. I just can't present it to you yet because I don't have anything yet. Otherwise, I would have. So.
well, I think we as a board need to have a general understanding what the whole board is thinking.
Yep. I'll lay it out for you because we had one other discussion, so I'll have it all laid out for you. You'll know everything that was discussed and where we're at. Yep. I did want to say that we did win the LWCF grant that you did hear. I sent an email out. That was for the skate park. We won $400,000 for the alternative transportation grant. Chris, you're on the trail committee. That's for a bike trail from Burr to Raleigh and from Raleigh to Cabela Drive. And so that'll be connecting that whole area.
Are you going under the interstate, Raleigh?
Yeah, they're doing some work under the
I mean,
interstate.
is that,
That'll be a bike path.
I understand that, but is that being done by the
State.
state department? and the
State.
state?
Yep.
State's gonna do it all?
I think state does underneath the interstate. I think that's their
That's
project.
gonna be a major.
Yeah.
For the skate park, I see like $53,000 and $22,000 raised, where's the rest of the money coming from?
Don't have that secured yet.
Okay.
Yep.
Wasn't it like 100,000?
122. No, we had the conversation with council. Council asked us not to put it in the budget, or we asked for it in the budget, but they didn't approve, waiting to see if this came through. So we'll just be asking for council for it when we need it. Until the funds are in the bank account in the state, I can't do anything with the project yet anyway. So until that's complete, until the federal government gives the state the money and they're able to allocate it, then we can get started, and I don't know when that is.
Is there conditions on the grant? How soon you have to have it done, I guess?
No, it actually allows a lot of time to complete it, so, yeah.
The only concern I had was your comment regarding this to the council
I know what you're
about
going to
we're gonna tighten our belt.
say. I know what you're going to say.
I mean, how much tighter do you need to put things here? I mean, literally, that was probably not the best choice of
Statement.
words to use, but, you know, I understood.
Point taken. And then the plan, again, the forestry plan, I'm working with NDSU. It's a slow process working with the school. I'm sorry, not the forestry plan, the Lake Mitchell master plan. We're working through that, and I'm talking with them weekly, and just trying to keep on them to keep the ball rolling. Hopefully we can wrap something up before summer, and that plan would be adopted by this board. And then the forestry plan, Mr. Kafer couldn't make it to this meeting because of the some personal issues, but or personal commitments, and so he's going to come next month, and we'll present that, have the conversation, open for comments ahead of time too. It's on our website. People can access it and read it. And
I read that, his comments. What concerned me, his comment regarding taking out certain trees, just leave them lay on the ground, and occasionally go out and spray Roundup on them. We want to do that at the lake, seriously?
I'm going to leave that for the forest expert. I don't. Yeah,
I mean, no,
yeah,
I don't care what the forest experts say.
Yeah.
What is it? Monsanto is being sued by billions and billions of dollars for Roundup. And now we're thinking about asking our staff to go out and spray Roundup alongside the lake.
See?
Yeah, that's kind of a new thing, and, we use, something similar to Roundup, same thing, in like our fence lines or sidewalks, cracks, stuff like that, we're already using it. And out there, I think in his plan, you just put on the stump, you're not spraying the whole area with Roundup.
You did runoff?
Yeah, there could be some of that. But, yeah, it'd be a question for him to answer. I'm just saying, we use the same product in other areas already, but that's a good question for him.
And I do want to say it's just his recommendations. We can make any changes to the plan moving forward that we need to here. Yep. And it was done at no charge by the state, so they're very helpful to do this for us and give us some guidance. And that was all.
Okay. Federal family request. The Greg Cadwell, Bernard Cadwell family, of which Cadwell Park is named after their dad, is looking to do some additional things at Cadwell Park. What they would like to do inside the park area somewhere is to put a bronze bust of their dad out there. It would be mounted on a pedestal. The pedestal would be constructed in a similar fashion as what the stonework and brickwork that we currently have out there is. So it will fit right in. The bust will be approximately 18 inches tall. The pedestal will probably be, I would imagine, 4 or 5 foot tall. On that pedestal will be a plaque giving the story of their dad and how Cadwell Park came into existence. In addition, and I've got a couple of pictures here, they want to do two things out there. The bronze bust is something that's primary. That's number one. But one of the kids, who Denny and I know very well, is a real go-getter. Kind of like her dad was. Once she makes up her mind on something, she doesn't let it go very easy. So she's been checking around. She's the one that's done all the legwork on this. In the process of finding somebody, her whole goal was to get it all done in Mitchell. Well, nobody in Mitchell does bronze bust. She found a place in Sioux Falls that the guy will do it. The reason I'm bringing it tonight is he wants to start on it March 1st. Well, they want to get the board's support for this plan before they commission this guy to do this bronze bust. Basically what it is, they'll do the bronze bust and the platform that it'll be on. All work, all materials, the family will pay for it, every dime. But there's a gentleman here in town, Martinick, who is a sculpturist as well, and he works in metals. Well, he prepared a deal that she really liked, and this is the second part that she's requesting, and I'll pass it around. It's the same sculpture, just at different angles. What they would like to do is get the board's support to put up these two works of art, basically, inside Cadwell Park. And there is an area, as you go by the ticket booth and you come into the park, there's kind of a grassy area that's divided up by sidewalks, and they would like to have it in there. This is not anything, the city will not, it's not asking for naming rights because they've already got the naming rights. They just want to put something out there that as a memorial to their dad. The story behind Cadwell Park is really, really fascinating, what he went to get that stadium out there. Denny knows probably as much about it as anybody. There was a lot, he wasn't the only one by any means, but he was definitely the guy that got everything moving. And I think the city of Mitchell was the one that, because of his efforts, named it Cadwell Park. Initially, it was just basically Big Diamond, but it, because of the efforts he took, the land was purchased and ultimately grew to what we have now. And so he didn't know it at the time, but the work he did got us where we are today at Cadwell Park. The family just wants to put something up in memorial of their dad. There was actually a plaque on a stone out on the corner of Minnesota where you enter the park. It got moved here a few years back and put behind the stadium. Well, nobody sees it now. There is a plaque out there on the ground that another family put up for their mother, because the mother obviously had to live with their dad going out and doing all of this, and they planted trees and there's a plaque in the ground. They would like everything but that plaque. Ultimately, if the board is agreeable to letting them do this, move it all into that one area. And it will tell the story of how Cadwell Park came into existence. And did you have anything you wanted to?
I just was gonna add, because I was, gone when a lot of this was done in the military, but, my dad was involved with, Brad, my dad being a baseball fanatic, but there was a phone-a-thon to raise money. And they did it for 48 or 72 straight hours. They raised $20-some thousand. And within hours after it was all over with, Red was 54, 53, died of a massive heart attack. So it's like, whoa. But he spent his last 3 or 4 days doing something for what it is now. And I got to give it to Jeremy, what he did to that baseball field, the grounds, prior to the baseball, amateur baseball, on making that flag and mowing it and making it look like a flag and taking a picture of it, because that's what really got the Cadwells started on, look what this has become. And this is, we don't want it to stop. And I think the Cadwells will be donating money or donating stuff for years to come. And I got to give it to the park department and Jeremy and the people that work Cadwell. It was a beautiful stadium. You don't see that. That's Major League what they did. If you haven't seen it, I have pictures. And anyway,
They would like to have this done prior to the amateur tournament, which will be held here in 2020. Next year, it goes to Sioux Falls. So
we'll have it back again in 2022.
yeah, I think that's,
Yep.
but they would like to have this done, and it's just a matter of what they would like is to make sure that the board is agreeable to this, and they will follow whatever directions the board asks them. They are looking at planning to come to the board sometime in March. That's if we give them we support this action or whatever at this time. Then they can proceed, get with the sculpturist and get him proceeded on it, and they will come in March. We'd like to go out there and determine exactly where these things would be. There's an area on the north end of what I'll call the bleachers, out to where the ticket booth is. That's kind of open, and I think they would like to put it in that area, simply because more people will see it. That's the primary thing. But they will come to the park board and present the plan. This metal one, I can give you a kind of an idea of what that would. It'll be approximately 4 to 5 feet tall. It's 24 inches by 24 inches deep and wide. It'll weigh, it's made out of mild steel, weighs about 150 pounds, and it will have he calls it, it'll be painted finish, but in order to keep the metal from oxidizing and rusting badly, I don't know if they put an enamel or what kind of a paint on it, but it'll be beautiful when it's done. And Denny and I were kind of talking, you don't want the kids climbing on it, obviously. So we may have to request that they build a little white picket fence around it, so the kids can't get into it. But other than that, that's what they're requesting. So because Danny and I have been friends with the family ever since we were kids, they've asked us to bring it tonight. and get an idea what the board's feelings are.
And we would be requesting a vote on this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We're requesting a vote on this?
Yes.
correct? Yes.
Any concerns, Steve?
And we don't have any that I'm aware of. Dan's not here, but I did ask him on Monday, and he sounded like it was a great thing, so.
I'm all for it.
One thing too, I think when she talked to Mr. Martinek, I think he's an upcoming artist that has no sculptors in Mitchell at all.
Well,
He's
he's-
going, wow, how many hundreds or thousands of people will be able to see my work? And,
It's my understanding that he was picked to be on the, over in Sioux Falls on Phillips Avenue.
He's been there twice, actually, he's one of the first places open.
Yeah, so,
He actually does a lot of like nonprofit stuff for kids, over at the Discovery Museum, I wanna say, by UW, where kids come in and they'll do like a blacksmithing class kind of thing with kids and stuff like that, and it's all nonprofit, you know. And,
good guy. Yes, good guy.
so with that, if there's any other questions, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve, how do I want to put that? Approve support of the plan that we know, and it'll be clarified and verified more in March.
what do you say if you're first?
God bless you.
Sorry.
Mhm.
What do you say if you're first? I know the second, you say second, what do you say if you're first?
Well,
I second that motion. You making a motion?
no, I'm not making a motion. I'll let somebody, did you want to make a motion? You-
Yeah, I'll make a motion for that.
Okay. And you second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So moved. Thank you on behalf of the Cadwells. Well, if there isn't any other business, I will adjourn this meeting and, and adjourn. I got to set the meeting, our next meeting date.
Anytime works for us. We can go earlier if you'd like.
Well, the second Thursday of March is the 12th. I'll throw this out there. Is 4 o'clock too early for you guys? What's the earliest you could go at? Just 6?
Only as an option, I asked, we can change the
Any day?
If,
Might run into council on Monday.
Well, I was thinking Wednesday. It's a church night.
just not that Wednesday. I'm on vacation. I'm coming back on the 11th.
Okay, let's shoot for the 12th at 6 o'clock.
Okay. We tried.
And, I mean, it is what it is.
You know, if anything comes up too between now and what Chris brought up with Code Westland, maybe
We'll have a
phone calls or whatever,
yep.
we can have a quick meeting
Yep, we'll have a meeting.
somewhere.
Yep, we'll probably do a lunch meeting. Is that gonna, I'll send out a Survey Monkey to see when everybody can come. So I just need a quorum. And so if you want to be there though and you can't, then we'll make sure that we set a date that you can come if you can't make it, but you're not too concerned, that'll be up to you. We'll set a date if you want to be here. We'll make sure you're here. We'll set that date. So, all right?
All right, meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming, guys. And ladies. Well, it's not bad. It could have been nice.
The way it started, I figured we'd be out here in 15, 20 minutes.
You blame me.
See ya.
Yeah.
Where you going? I think I'm going home.
I was shooting for tomorrow.
Well, I got a ticket to get in the
Certain
door.
line might be a little.
Well, good.
Said something to the kids, matter of swimming in me.
Well,
Yeah.
I went and watched the freshman play.
Yeah.
Roosevelt.
Yeah, the kids are out.
Two coaches of the freshman team
Yeah.
and the sophomore team. Basically asking the freshman coming out.
In Mitchell?
Couple of them, freshmen, 6'3", 6'2", and they're beefy, and they push people around. Oh, and yeah, there's some good ball players. But I think Mitchell's kinda coming around, figuring out how to play the game.
Yeah.
They got, what, 5 out of the last 6 wins? So, if they'd have won one more, they'd have been on the top 6 in the state. If they'd have, but anyway. Hey, I'm glad everything went, I figured that baseball thing would go home pretty easy. As far as the academy
It'll be nice when they can get, exactly, you know. We can't get out there now to determine, I mean, there's too much snow. But in March, you know.
I don't think Dan will have a problem. Just go ahead and run it, get the bus done, and we'll.
Find your times and activities.
The only thing as far as Williams,
Thank you.
those guys are good, they got the stuff there, they just put that together.
Well, Deb was gonna contact you, so. Anyway, Angel, thank you.
That's kind of like the Sioux Falls conference. We walked in there and we're like, yeah, we haven't paid it. Let's go buy something, you know. Yeah, I don't even know if they did it. Now that I'm ISA certified, you have to have CEUs, like I had 30 of them. Have you guys ever done like the EHAP, or do they send you guys anything?
You guys did, certified arborist first before you did that.
For the EHAP? No, that's just, it's like a training program. So like last year we went to Rapid, and it's just a one-day deal, but Dr.
That's
Paul
not
was
that
out
we
there.
checked into it, we told us we didn't have to be a certified arborist.